Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first ever Newsflash Deep Dive. For our first episode, our debut episode, we're going to take a look at how mainstream media has outed themselves as the official PR department for the ANC. Because at this point, they should just put "brought to you by the ANC" in the lower third graphics. I mean, if these guys were any more loyal, then they'd be getting Christmas bonuses from Luthuli House. And how exactly has mainstream media outed themselves? Well, you just need to look at how they're attacking AfriForum.
Delegation from AfriForum and Solidarity has held surprise talks at the White House with officials from the Trump administration, and already what they are doing has spawned division.
Before you decided to go beyond South Africa's borders to be able to cause alarm, a campaign of disinformation.
Perhaps what they are engaged in is going to damage this very country.
Looking at the AfriForum and Solidarity.
To ensure that what AfriForum and Solidarity are marching and talking about is frowned upon by all our
These AfriForum members guilty of treason. Oh my God! The poor! The farmer! The poor!
So how did this all start? It started with a post from Conscious Caracal or Ernst van Sale, who said, "Breaking, Delegation from AfriForum Solidarity and the Solidarity Movement have met with senior representatives of the Trump administration at the White House in Washington, D.C. And this threw the mainstream media into a frenzy.
But it is also you that has gone to the US and continue to engage officials in the White House to create an impression that somehow the Afrikaner community is being persecuted here.
If you feel like you're not being listened to in South Africa, one would ask, why not take up the US government's offer then?
First, of the latest episode where we saw people from AfriForum engaging officials in the United States of America. What do you make of this particular step or move?
It just seems bewildering that we would have organizations within civil society that are playing to a campaign of disinformation.
So the president has said, right? The president has said in public that what you're doing is creating division.
And already what they are doing has spawned divisions.
Certainly not building the nation, running around, to the world when you have...
The AfriForum and Solidarity groups are still in the United States.
It deeply disappoints me that AfriForum came before the South African government to engage President Trump. They've already set the table for a future discussion between the two governments, and we don't know what they have set on that table. The question would be is if they're not interested in leaving South Africa, why are they here?
But what responsibility are you also taking as well for that?
And I think the extent to which we act on those things, including us as the ANC calling on government to really help to protect the constitution, the unitary state that we are, and to ensure that what AfriForum and Solidarity are marching and talking about is frowned upon by all our people.
But let's clarify a few things. Let's hear from Kali Krail, the CEO of AfriForum, as he explains why exactly AfriForum was in Washington, D.C. or wanted to meet with the Trump administration.
We, also within Solidarity, came to the US to urge them not to kick South Africa out of AGOA, but they said to us, even if they don't want to, AGOA requires respect for property rights, AGOA requires respect for human rights, AGOA requires a country should not act directly against the interests of the US. And we need to solve those things. That is why we are here. Those politicians and even the ambassador here, if they think they're going to solve this by just saying, you know what, this is just a big misunderstanding or this is misinformation, they will fail. And if they fail, it's to the detriment of all of us.
That all sounds reasonable to me, but somehow mainstream media has conflated and put words in AfriForum's mouth. I mean, just look at this one article from Eyewitness News. Look at what they say here. The Afrikaner interest group, despite crying wolf about being exposed globally in a lie about so-called genocide in South Africa, is doubling down. Really? Any journalist who would have just done their job just a little bit would have found out that AfriForum has won cases against various news outlets that have accused AfriForum of using the term white genocide. All those news outlets had to apologize and retract their statements, because in fact, AfriForum has never ever said that. They've never used the term white genocide, but mainstream media keeps pretending that they have. AfriForum went to Washington, D.C. to speak to Trump's administration for the following reasons: to increase pressure on the ANC leaders for corruption and human rights abuse, protection of Afrikaans culture spaces and minority rights, condemnation of hate speech, including songs that incite violence against farmers. And this article cites data from the police minister, who said that apparently there was one farm attack or farm murder in the third quarter of the 2024-2025 financial year. But again, this is incorrect. And AfriForum has debunked this because they showed that there actually was more farm murders in the same time period. And the police minister was either misinformed or lying. So just in this one article, in these 3 paragraphs, I have shown you that the mainstream media has lied about AfriForum's statements, used misleading crime stats, and pushed ANC's talking points while smearing dissenting voices. The media is working overtime to make AfriForum look like the bad guy. And let's be real, if the media is this desperate to make you hate AfriForum, doesn't that say something? It's AfriForum deranged syndrome, which is like Trump deranged syndrome, only there's more vuvuzelas and annoying wokey voices. They even brought in a woke professor of law to label AfriForum as nostalgic for apartheid and paint South Africa as if it's a utopia.
AfriForum is struggling with the reality of being ordinary, because the new South Africa requires all of us to be ordinary. Whereas colonialism and apartheid made white people special people. Now that in the new South Africa they're ordinary, I think some white people, and AfriForum in particular, is seeking to reverse the wheel and find some reason to be special again.
Meanwhile, mainstream media keeps stacking panels with guests who attack AfriForum, deliberately shaping a one-sided narrative. And let's get real here, AfriForum isn't organizing some political coup here. As stated by Callie Crail, all they're doing is lobbying to protect South African citizens, urging the US not to end AGOA, the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which benefits South Africa's economy, and holding the government accountable, specifically the ANC. But the media? They want you to believe that AfriForum is the real problem, while ignoring who actually caused the mess we're in, which is, of course, the ANC. And meanwhile, mainstream media has no shame. The City Press editor-in-chief literally called AfriForum Solidarity Neanderthals.
Because you risk driving even those Afrikaners who buy into a notion of a democratic, unitary South Africa and non-racial South Africa. You risk driving people with those strong cultural attachments into the arms of those Neanderthals.
Listen properly.
Those Neanderthals in AfriForum and in Solidarity.
And now, just to crank up the insanity, organizations and maybe political parties are now charging AfriForum Solidarity with treason. Really? But AfriForum isn't fazed, because Callie Crail himself has said that, well, they hope they go to court because then they get to expose just how rotten the ANC really is.
I was informed by the media that the Hawks are investigating complaints of high treason against AfriForum. I will not be having any sleepless nights over this, as these complaints are baseless. If the state, however, goes ahead with this, it will make us stronger. It would confirm the point that there are ANC leaders that are abusing their power to govern against certain sections of the population. It's also ludicrous because we have many ANC leaders implicated of corruption at the Zondo Commission, and the Hawks are not acting against them. Then secondly, if AfriForum has to be in court, it would of course also give us a platform to show the world and to show the country how the ANC leaders are acting against the interest of the country. They are disloyal. AfriForum Solidarity and the Solidarity movement are loyal because we are fighting for in the interest of the South African people.
And it would really be awesome to see that. Even a legal expert who isn't a fan of AfriForum has said that if the ANC pursues this case, they would have egg on their faces.
Yes, you do have utterances that have been made. You do have utterances in which, from the looks of things, it's as if you are not even obeying or giving any dignity or respect to the government of the day. But the question would be, is it unlawful? The answer would be no. Reason being, I have freedom of expression. I have the right to talk whoever that I want to talk to. And if they want to defend whatever causes that is there, they can go in and do that. So there's no crime that has been committed. So if you look at the definition of the crime or the alleged crime as it exists today, it does not fit into the sequence of events or the acts that have been conducted by AfriForum. That's where the problem is going to be when trying to defend or trying to institute these proceedings.
They would lose spectacularly and in the process prove AfriForum's argument. And what's really frustrating in how the media really exposes themselves is when they don't actually talk about the real issues and the real problems. We've all seen how some political parties and members of parliament have been on stage advocating for violence against minorities.
We kill their children, we kill their women, we kill their dogs, we kill their cats, we kill anything that comes before us.
Shoot to kill the massa, kill the poor, the farmer.
And it is astonishing that mainstream media doesn't even dare to call out these politicians or to condemn it. As a matter of fact, they tried to defend it. And as much as the mainstream media is trying to make you believe that property rights are still protected in South Africa, there have been numerous reports of land grabs in just the past few weeks. My point is, a lot of people are calling AfriForum liars, but if you do the research, you'll find that AfriForum isn't lying at all. The only people that are lying are mainstream media. And thankfully, there are some South Africans who are not falling for the BS. They can see right through the lies of the mainstream media. The ANC deserves every sanction coming their way. In fact, what AfriForum is doing is what Mandela would have wanted. Nelson Mandela said, if the ANC does to you what the apartheid government did to you, then you must do to the ANC what you did to the apartheid government. Is this really what Mandela would have wanted? That's a conversation for another day. But one thing's for sure, the mainstream media has definitely become the PR firm of the ANC. This isn't journalism anymore, this is a smear campaign. And if they can do this to AfriForum, they can do this to anyone, and they have. Look at what they did to Ramon Kabanak, and look at what they did to Luthuli House. AfriForum isn't the enemy of South Africa. They fight for minorities, communities, and real issues. Just the other day, they launched a garbage truck to help clean communities. They've helped South Africans of all races, including assisting a woman who needed batteries for life support, not to mention the countless farmers and other individuals that they've helped over the years. AfriForum and Solidarity have been fighting racial quotas, communist-style policies, and government overreach. That's not treason, that's saving South Africa. The real traitors are the ANC, who have left this country with record-breaking unemployment, 77 murders per day, a collapsed power grid, and a water crisis. And I'm just scratching the surface of all the issues. I didn't even mention all the mafia groups that exist, and harmful policies that hinder economic growth and prosperity for South Africa. Not to mention the 142 racial laws that exist right now in South Africa, which means we have more racial laws in South Africa right now than during apartheid. And yet the media won't say anything about the actual problem, which is the ANC. AfriForum didn't make Trump sign that executive order, nor did they make Trump end US aid. As a matter of fact, as Kylie Krell mentions, USA has been watching South Africa for quite a while.
Two people, yesterday we had a meeting at Congress, and we were told that they have been monitoring what is happening in South Africa for a number of years, also under the Biden administration, they actually gave us a list of what the issues are that they've seen.
Nothing that AfriForum brought to the US was news to the US. It was only a matter of time. And as much as the mainstream media wants to try and pin this on AfriForum because the ANC said it was AfriForum's fault, which was ridiculous, and now the mainstream media is just running with that. As much as they might want to make you believe that this is all AfriForum's fault, this is the white man bad narrative, it's blowing up in their faces because they're exposing just how biased they actually are. At the end of the day, we don't hate mainstream media enough. If you enjoyed this content, ladies and gentlemen, please consider becoming a member to this channel. It goes a long way to supporting me in this channel and helping me to produce content like this. There's a lot of exclusive perks if you become a member, like seeing episodes like this first, and a whole lot of other stuff. Check the join button below this video. And if you can't become a member, that's okay. Please consider giving a super thanks or a sasa thanks, as we call them on this channel. And don't forget to comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this deep dive. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And what other topics would you like me to take a deep dive into? While you're down there, leave a like, share the video far and wide, and subscribe to the channel. I've got more content coming your way. With all that being said, your Newsflash Deep Dive is in.